What is going on, guys? Hello and welcome to episode 69 of the Forward Progress Football Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Party, and today we're going to be doing a bit of an abbreviated Week 13 preview I've got a school coming up, final projects, and then also going out of town to see the Raiders game live and in person. That should be a ton of fun. And then also in this episode, we're going to be recapping the Thursday night football game between the Bills and the Patriots. Let's get right on into it. All right, so we're going to start off with the Thursday night football game between the Bills and the Patriots. Bills covering and winning 24-10, like I predicted. I feel like the score makes sense, but man, this was just such a weird game. Josh Allen was like pinpoint accurate most of the night, other than when he wasn't, and he somehow ended up with no interceptions despite throwing it straight to the defense at least twice, maybe even three times. Their pass protection was also pretty great for the most part. Josh Allen all day. But occasionally, David Quessenberry just had some terrible reps, just getting absolutely owned by Josh Uche. Hopefully for the Bills, Deion Dawkins won't miss too much more time because some of those were just ugly. And then running the ball, James Cook had a good game, led the team in carries. I wonder if that's a sign of things to come. But Josh Allen had like one of his more down days rushing the ball. He averaged only like 2 yards per carry, I think, flat. And then on defense, they were weird too. Up front, they really got after Mac Jones, Gregory Rousseau, Boogie Basham, AJ Epinesa. They got after him again and again. Edmonds, he had an incredible day stuffing the run. But in the secondary, Xavier Rhodes just got cooked repeatedly. I didn't even know. I guess he's been on the practice squad most of the season. Got out there and they're still working right back into the lineup fully. So hopefully in the future, Rhodes won't have to see as much action. But yeah, this week, that was rough. And for the Patriots, they just came out flat. Stevenson had a weird day. He looked great running the ball, but he had 2 fumbles and a couple of passes that bounced out of his hands. And Mac Jones, he was all right. He was constantly under pressure, and when he could find open receivers, he was accurate. But there were just so many plays where he couldn't find someone deep. He did a good job in the backfield, breaking sacks, trying to extend the play. But at the end of the day, the Patriots just couldn't get open, leading to throwaways and contested catches or incompletions versus this well-coached but pretty injury-riddled Bills secondary. All right, so now we're going to get into our Week 13 game previews. As I said, this one's going to be a bit of an abbreviated episode. Just a busy week ahead of me. So hopefully next week I'll get back on track with the full forced episodes, but I'm just going to give like one major takeaway and who I think will cover and win. So starting off, we're going to talk about the Jets at the Vikings. Vikings 3-point favorites. I like the Vikings in this one, bouncing back on Thanksgiving after their loss to Dallas, and I trust 1 p.m. Kirk a lot more than Mike White, who collapsed after his one good game last year, so Vikings cover and win. Then we have the Titans at the Eagles. Eagles 4.5-point favorites. The Titans, they always keep this game close, whether they should dominate or be dominated. I like the odds in this A.J. Brown revenge game. They have a strong run defense, and I think they could really limit the Eagles' offense while also taking advantage of what has been the Eagles' biggest weakness, run defense, with their biggest strength, Derrick Henry. So I'm going to pick the Titans to cover and win. Commanders at the Giants. Commanders being 2.5-point favorites. The Giants typically have the Commanders' number, and Daboll has been really good about winning games against like similarly tiered competition. But with injuries stacking up for the Giants and the Commanders' defense improving and potentially getting Chase Young back, I like Taylor Heineke and the Commanders pulling out a close one, so Commanders cover and win. Broncos at Ravens. Ravens are 8.5-point favorites. The Broncos suck on offense, and it feels like this defense is starting to give up. But still, it's hard to imagine the struggling Ravens offense covering an 8.5-point spread against such a good defense. So I'm going to pick the Broncos to cover, but the Ravens win. Then we have the Browns at the Texans, Browns being 7-point favorites. On paper, Browns by 1 million, but emotions are real. And with this being Watson's first game back, I expect to see some rush from him, and I expect the Titans to play angry and somehow pull off an improbable upset. So Texans cover and win. Then we have the Jags at the Lions. Lions being 1-point favorites. And the battle of 2 rebuilding teams, I like the Lions in this one. While Lawrence was great last week, I think the Lions have been improving defensively and could really limit the Jags, especially if ETN isn't playing. And I don't love the Jags' odds defensively going against a pretty good Lions offense. So Lions cover and win. Then we have the Steelers at the Falcons. Falcons being 1-point favorites. I like Pickett and the growth he's been showing, and the Falcons have one of the worst pass defenses in the league. Combine that with their inconsistent offense going against the Pittsburgh defense, I like the Steelers odds in this one, so give me the Steelers to cover and win. Then we have the Packers at the Bears, Packers being 3.5-point favorites. It looks like we're getting both Justin Fields and Aaron Rodgers in this one. And while I think the Bears definitely are going to be able to put up a good amount of offense versus this Packers run defense, I'm never going to bet against Aaron Rodgers versus the Bears, so give me the Packers to cover and win. Then we have the Dolphins at the Niners being 4-point favorites. This is like the teacher versus the student in this one, but is it already time for McDaniel to become the master, already more of an offensive genius than Shanahan? They both know each other so well, so who's going to take advantage of that more in this one? I think the Niners are the best defense in the league right now, but I'm not even sure if they can stop the Miami offense, so I'm going to pick the Dolphins to cover and win. Then we have the Seahawks at the Rams, Seahawks being 7-point favorites. The Rams are so injury riddled, and all the players know that the season is toast. While the Seahawks, they want to keep continuing their Cinderella story into January at least, needing to win every game they can to get into the playoffs. So the Seahawks cover and win. Then we have the Chiefs at the Bengals. Chiefs are 1.5-point favorites. The Bengals won both these matchups last year, and they should get Jamar Chase back this game. Maybe Joe Mixon too, but Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid aren't going to lose to the same team 3 times in a row, especially with the Bengals defense getting pretty beat up and showing some weakness. So I'm going to pick the Chiefs to cover and win. Then we have the Chargers at the Raiders. Raiders 1-point favorites. In a battle of 2 disappointing AFC West teams, will the injury-riddled team win, or will it be the one that just can't close out games? This one definitely feels like it could go either way, but I'm going to go with the Raiders' offensive stars making just enough plays to pull one out at home. So give me the Raiders to cover and win. Then we have the Colts at the Cowboys, Cowboys being 10.5-point favorites. The Colts' offense regressed back last week in the first half, but then found some rhythm in half 2. However, going against the Cowboys, I think we'll see those bad Colts come out once again, and I don't really have any worries about the Cowboys putting up points in this one, so Cowboys cover and win. And then last game of the week, we got the Saints at the Bucks, Bucks being 4-point favorites. The Tom Brady-led Buccaneers beat the Saints for the first time this season in a low-scoring affair where the difference really was a bunch of Jameis picks at the end of the game. This time with Dalton, I think they'll be safer with the ball. I think the Bucks will be limited offensively again, and the Saints are just going to put up just enough points to win, so Saints cover and win. All right, so that's going to do it for today's episode. Hopefully all my projects and stuff go well, and I will be free next weekend to do the full episodes and full breakdown too, because I'm going to have a bit of an abbreviated breakdown this weekend too. But yeah, stick around, and I'll see you all next time.